Hi, everybody. I'm Mary Angela Saavedra. I'm the director of the Center on the Hill, and it is time for another episode of Tell Me Something Good. Now with special guests. I am joined today by Teresa Nutter. Hi, Teresa.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here and play.
I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who have never watched before, I'm going to use 3 cards from a game called Storywise. It's from Atria Senior Living. It is 144 thoughtful ways to bond with a fellow human. So these are just some thoughts that we have on these topics, and then we're going to ask you to email us your thoughts at the end and join the conversation. So let's get going. I'm going to show you my first card. Let's see, put it in the screen there. Can you see it?
I can, yeah.
Some boys around a car. They're checking out a station wagon, old time.
Love it.
And this question says, your strongest personality trait. So, I mean, I would say probably I feel like my strongest personality trait is that I'm pretty personable. Like, I like to talk to people. Some people tell me I've never met a stranger because I'm just kind of like easy to talk to, and that's always been something I've been very pleased about. Like, I want people to feel like they can talk to me. You know, sometimes I'm just standing in line at the grocery store, and you know, people will just immediately like start talking to me. You know, I remember having some friends sometimes would be like, do you know that person? I'm like, no, they just felt like they wanted to talk to me about this. And they were like, that's so weird. No one ever does that to me. And I'm like, I don't know. I think that's just something about me that makes people like be like, hey, talk to that girl. She seems nice. So I think that's one of my strongest personality traits. How about you?
I would say definitely my sense of humor. It is like twofold: sense of humor and like positive outlook, because I think they need to go hand in hand. Sure. At least for me anyway. Like, I've been told by like previous employers, current employers, friends and stuff, they're just like, even when the world is falling apart, you're still so happy and like willing to like make others laugh. And I was like, yeah, I know. And I just it just, I don't know, like, I'm really proud about that, because like I can, you know, handle any situations thrown at me. Not a lot of people can do that, and I think that is a really, really great trait that I have.
Yeah, I have to agree. I can attest that Teresa's sense of humor is awesome, and the world can be falling apart around her, and she can be like, I'm gonna make you laugh right now so you don't worry about the world falling apart around you. Oh, that's really helpful. Thank you. That's a great trait. I mean, I wish I could do that. I can't always be funny in situations of stress. I tend to freak out, but I'm darn friendly. So you can talk to me and share your sense of humor all you want. Be great. Okay, our second question. There she is, laying on the ground, little chop crown. You go first this time, and this question is, how you think things would be different if most of the world's leaders were women?
Well, I would say that I think things would be slightly different, in that I think we would see compassion first and rash decisions second. I think women have a more understanding of that. Like, a professor said this to me, and it always stuck with me, was that men typically communicate in reporting, whereas women typically communicate in reporting. So women, and like those who have, you know, feminine traits and things like that, tend to listen between the lines of things and listen to what is happening behind the scenes, whereas men, masculine trait, tends to listen to just pure facts. Or like, this is the day, this is how we're doing it. And I think you can find that people are more willing to open up to you if you come to them from a compassionate standpoint. And I think in New Zealand is the prime minister there. She's a woman, and she's also very young. But seeing like and things, although it's a much smaller country, obviously it has, you know, the population of the entire country is equivalent to that of New York City, you know, so that also matters. But she really, like, her cabinet, for example, are women, but they're women who are in those industries. So the person in charge of education was a previous teacher. The person who's in charge of healthcare was a healthcare professional. You know, that's what I think would be different, is that we would, not to say that women leaders can't also be corrupted, because they can be, but I think statistically we'd see less corruption. It's a very long answer. I'm very passionate about this subject.
No, that's great. Great. No, that's an awesome answer. And I completely agree with that assessment. I also think, to some degree, there, like you said, it really ties to that compassion piece, because I think women it's a little bit easier sometimes for women to take a step back and take a 10,000 foot view. Because think about it as parents, right? When you're a mother and you have more than one child, or even when you have one child, you're constantly at that 10,000 foot view being like, what is all around my child right now? What is happening everywhere that could possibly affect this situation? And that's kind of how I feel, and what I've witnessed of the female leaders that I've, paid attention to, is that, yeah, it seems really like in their nature to take that step back. Whereas men oftentimes are like, I'm heading into this, and this is where I'm heading, and this is what I'm seeing is this end point. And it's like, nope, especially when it comes to leading, the world. You got to take that 10,000 foot step back, because if you can't see the other things coming, then you are literally just in it waiting for stuff to fly at you. And you're like, but if you were back here, you could see that this was happening. So I fully agree. I think it would be interesting. And I am really excited to see younger leaders and female leaders coming up. Like, I think that's really great. I think for a long time, women have been sat on, and I'm like, yeah, no, you know what? Women are responsible for raising humans. So it's like, if since the beginning of time, if that's been our responsibility, why exactly can we not lead in other ways? Because that's a pretty big responsibility. I'm sorry, but getting a child from, birth to adulthood is no small feat. And I'm not saying men can't do it. They totally can. But that's just been our role. We're just kind of designed.
I think too, like, women are more open to like working with a village, like it takes a village to do anything.
Yeah.
And I think that too is that, like, we welcome ideas even if we think ours are better, but we still welcome new ideas, because like you'd be like, oh, I never thought of it that way, whereas like you said, like it's just be like,
this is what I'm focused on. No, I get it for sure. Awesome. Well, here's our last question. These are two people, like looks like they're hiking up at the top of a mountain. One's got the arm around the other. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see. And this question says, your favorite period of your life. So we're both still pretty young, so like I'm not gonna right. I was like, I'm not gonna say that the best isn't yet to come, because it might very well be. I don't know that right now. I'm literally just going on what has happened since. And for me, I think I'm gonna say my favorite part of life was right after I turned 30. I moved to Chicago, and for some reason, becoming 30 was sort of this turning point where people stopped treating me like a kid and started treating me like an adult, like truly. Like, even though I've been an adult my whole 20s, like, I'm an adult. I'm paying bills and living on my own, been on my own since I was 19, like, definitely was. But I never perceived people as really recognizing me as an adult in my 20s. And I don't think I ever truly felt truly adult in my 20s. And then somehow, like, I turned 30 and people, just started, I could apply for jobs in upper management. We're like, well, you're over 30. Of course you could be in management. You've had 10 years of, being the subordinate. So like, you're ready for this. And then I felt really confident in things. I've been living on my own for about 10 years at that point. And I was like, yeah, I've got this. I'm not going to be evicted tomorrow. I got all my stuff is in order. Like, I feel good about this. So I'd say that decade of my 30s was pretty great. I lived on my own for the first time, like had my own apartment where I didn't have a roommate. That was really fun. I was in a great city. So at this moment, that's been my favorite period of my life. Not that the times since haven't been great, because they've been awesome too. But I would say that decade, that period of my life was definitely special. And I think about it fondly. How about you?
I know it's going to sound kind of trite, but I'd say kind of like this moment right now, similar to echo your sentiment. Like, I've been on my own since I was 18. I went to college later. I went to college when I was 22. So I kind of had like an extension of adolescence, like, cause like even though I was one of the oldest people in class, I'm still hanging out with 18-year-olds, and so I was like, yeah, I could stay up to 4 a.m. It's fine, you know. So and I'd say that like when I turned 30, I felt like, so I've been in my 30s for 4 years, and I feel different in that like I, not that I figured it out, but I figured out stuff that I don't like being like the people that I don't want to be around, the work that I don't want to do, the places that I don't want to be in. And I think, and I'm using that knowledge and I'm applying it in this decade. And so far it's paid off. I got married to a person whom I love very much. You were at the wedding. You remember, you saw it happen. I have a job that, although it can be challenging and frustrating, it has given me wealth, you know, and in that, and not like I'm rolling in the dough, but like I have a savings account now. I didn't have that for a while. And so it's a combination of having my responsibilities steady and still being able to have fun. Like I still feel like I'm 14, and I still, like, if you saw the room here, you would see posters of rock stars and Tinkerbell and everything. But I feel like I have the footing that I've been looking for a really long time, which allows me to truly be happy. Now, not to say that the 20s I had a fun time, because I sure did. I had the times I had. Right. But I realized when I turned 30, I was so scared to turn 30. And I know people listening might think that's silly, but you know, it had, like, because you've never been 30 before. Like, and I feel like people can say that to you because they've been 30 before. But for those of us who hadn't been, it gets kind of scary. And I love, and so far I love it. Like I have a house that is my own, and like that I rent, but it's still my own. But like I have my own space, and I like, this is the longest I've lived anywhere in the longest of my life. So, and stuff like that makes me happy, and I'm excited to see what happens. So I'd say, yeah, last 4 years been pretty cush.
Nice. Love it. Great. Well, let me recap our questions for those of you following at home. Our questions were your strongest personality trait, how things would be different if most of the world's leaders were women, and your favorite period of your life. Email your thoughts to me at msavedra@chestnuthillpres.org. That's MSAAVEDRA @chestnuthillpres.org, and join the conversation. Thank you so much, Teresa, for being with us today. It was so great to talk to you.
Oh, it was the best. I miss you, and I'm so glad to be part of this. And I hope to hear what everyone has to say.
Yeah, I'll definitely share. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.